Oh, here we go. Boy, that didn't take more than 11 minutes to take a shot at blacks being on welfare.
And I think a black woman would just totally sort you right out and like blow your shofar, and you'll be ready to make babies and like so she can get more AFDC.
Okay. All right. So Greg points out that Abe's question was a theoretical question that only wants a theoretical answer. Oh, well, then my answer is very simple. If there were a therapy or there were a pill or a combo of either that would solve my problems and make me want to have kids, right, and work out the whole cycle of abuse thing, then yeah, I would take it. That's why I went to therapy to begin with, because I actually was one of these people that believed that therapy and or medication could actually help. That was when I was young and naive. And yeah, sure, if there theoretically would be such a thing, like Levi said, hey, you know, you do Alexander for 12 easy lessons for $25 a lesson or $100 a lesson, just come to my pad, and I'd go, Levi's are going to fix my my problems, and he would say, no, but I might be able to hook you up with a black chick. I would do it. Because the black chick, she can help you get the kids. See, that's you should put that on your card. We specialize in Alexander training and setting up with black chicks. So the answer would be, yeah, I would be all over it. If Levi could assure me that the cycle of abuse ends through Alexander, I would be all over it.
Now, do you make pocket change providing babysitting services? Like beer money?
Actually, your parents are paying me right now to babysit you.
But like people near you, they go, oh, let's drop off the kids with Rabs so that we can go to a movie tonight.
Nobody's ever in my life come up to me and said, you know, we'll pay you to watch the kids or something like that. That's never happened. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. You know, because I don't know what they say about me behind my back. You know, it's like, but I don't care. I'm fine with that. If people want to say, oh, he's abusive or whatever, that's fine.
Okay, converse scenario. Someone raised in an excellent Orthodox family lacks all abusive tendencies, but refuses to have kids because the kids are ungrateful bastards when they grow up. What then? Is this person in violation of the Torah?
I refuse to have kids because kids are ungrateful bastards. Good luck getting a heter for that, Greg. You're not going to get an exemption. There's no. I can't believe that any rabbi, you know, any Major League Rav is going to give a heter to somebody who grew up and doesn't show any signs of being abusive, and they're just saying, well, I just don't want to have kids. The Rav's not going to give you a heter for that. You have to have, you know, you've got to be able to tell the Rav in the face that you are going to abuse kids. You know, and that you hate kids and you're going to be abusive to them.
When you say you're going to abuse kids, you mean sexually or otherwise?
Why is it that the only people who would ever ask that question, right, are always affirming, right? Like nobody, when people hear child abuse, I actually have the answer for this. Can I take 5 minutes on this one? Because I actually know the answer to my own question. The question is, first of all, the setup is, outside of the frum world, you say child abuse and they picture you hitting a kid. Okay, everybody pictures hitting a kid, right? You know, because everybody who was child abused knows that like he got hit. Okay, I also think that neglect, which people don't think about, is just as damaging, if not more damaging, than violence. Neglect is a terrible form of child abuse.
Terrible.
Okay, and that doesn't have to be hitting. It could be emotional. You know, yelling at somebody, calling them names. You know, there's a lot of things you can do. I'm going to say, based on my experiences, that everyone who's not inside the frum world, when you say child abuse, they're thinking along these lines. You go into the frum world and you say child abuse, and they go, oh, you're one of those perverts. You're a child molester. And I'm like, where did you get that from, right? Like, you couldn't be more off base, right? Because there's no history of molestation in my family, thank God. And like, I never have any of those tendencies, right? That's got nothing to do with it. And I'm like, why am I even defending it? Why are we having this conversation? And it's because, and I can tell you why, folks, in the frum world, now you're not part of this, but in the frum world, they don't have a concept of child abuse. You're allowed to beat your kids. Right. You're allowed to yell at them. You're allowed to neglect them, right? That's not child abuse. Yeah, that's just like bringing up kids.
Exactly.
Yeah, they have no problem. They have no concept of the cycle of abuse because they don't have a concept of child abuse. That you can have child abuse going on right in front of them, they wouldn't recognize it because to them it seems like normal, you know. So the only thing that's out of the ordinary is when it's pointed out to them, hey, the rabbi in the yeshiva had molested the kid, and then like everybody's got to deal with it.
And even then, the more religious you go,
well, here we go.
The more to the right you go in the religious world, it's not looked on as worse than any other sin.
I think that goes across the board. I can tell you a modern Orthodox place over here where the guy got in trouble and, like, you know, it was smoothed over.
Right.
It's pretty much from across the board.
Yeah. Like for people who are not Orthodox, when they hear about sex with kids, or sexual relations short of intercourse, even it's like ah.
Yeah, they lose it.
But that's not the Torah attitude. Like, it's not.
Well, it should be.
It should be, but you don't have that.
Don't say it's not Torah attitude. It's not a frummy attitude.
There's nothing in like Torah that says like this is particularly heinous.
Oh.
Like, we just don't have that in the Masorah.
Hold on.
I've written about this. I've quoted people about this on my blogs.
You may have a good point. There's nothing like explicit.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, if a Rebbe, you know,
right,
makes a pass at one of his kids or something. Yeah. You know, it's always like the other way around. Like Torah is extreme the other direction. You know what it is?
Yeah.
Torah is extreme the other direction. Torah says that a man can't teach the females, right?
Yeah.
They don't want you teaching females.
Yeah.
Because they don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Torah says it's always like keep the boys and the girls in different schools.
Yeah.
Torah says if a guy's single like me, I can't teach even boys in a boys' school. You know why?
Why?
Because the mothers might come to pick them up.
Right.
And I might be tempted to do it with one of the mothers.
Right.
And plus they'll see me and they'll get the hots for me.
Right.
And the next thing you know, they're like picking up their kid every day, you know. So Torah goes to extraordinary lengths to prevent what it considers a problem, right? And it could be accused of being, oh, it's so strict about those areas. But you don't see the Torah taking a proactive approach to separate males from each other.
Mm-hmm.
It's always males from females. So I'm going to say the Torah figures that is the Yetzer stronger for women?
Okay, so I've worked out some thoughts on this. So as I review the entire corpus of Judaic literature in my head, as I review the entire Torah, from the written Torah to the Talmud to the ongoing
you've learned the entire,
pretty much
mastered the
and not
entire
just learned it,
Talmud.
but it's like it's memorized up here. And not just the Talmud, but all the commentaries on top of the Talmud.
It's a massive amount of
learning.
learning.
Then the commentaries on the commentaries, and then we get to the Shulchan Aruch, and then the commentaries on top of the Shulchan Aruch. Okay, so as I review the entire corpus of Torah in my head, I can't find much about trauma. Now, I wonder if trauma is Goyish thinking, outside of Torah, and hence has no validity. So I remember moving to the United States at age 11, and suddenly people started saying I was insecure. Now, this is like kind of psychology speak that we have a lot of in California, but we didn't have so much of in Australia. Now, I was just as insecure when I lived in Australia, but when I moved to California in 1977 at age 11, I was suddenly surrounded by people who were immersed in psychological thinking. And there weren't as many Aborigines around. So when my father got kicked out of the Seventh-day Adventist Church ministry in 1980, I was 14. Now, many of my peers at the time speculated that this would traumatize me. And I immediately accepted this because it was like an out. I thought, I'm traumatized, and I'm miserable, and I hate the church, and I proceeded to have a miserable 9th grade. I got a D average, and I thought of myself as a traumatized victim. So there was this comment on a blog post as follows.